Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Happy Friday to you all. I've been appearing a lot this week on videos and talking about self-care because this is something that I'm very passionate about, and I know that many humanitarians are also very passionate about. We talk about also a lot, I find, which is amazing. So today I wanted to talk about what's getting in the way of taking care of ourselves in the most effective, efficient, regular, sustainable way. I put together a blog post on this as well if you want to read about it, because I also compiled some of the things that I've shared with you during the week in different short videos about self-care as well. So this time I thought I would dedicate to encouraging all of us to think about what's really getting in the way of us taking care of ourselves in the way that we want it, in the way that we really desire, and that we want to set up our self-care systems. Now, this, what I'm talking about, obviously also can apply to any other circumstances, situations, workplaces. So don't think that humanitarian space is the only or the very rare or a different place, but I just want to speak to my fellow humanitarians in this sense. But whatever you are hearing, you also, of course, apply to your own unique situation that you are in. By the way, I just see that my Spanish and Italian books are behind me. So for those of you who haven't heard that I've restarted learning Spanish, because I just, I quit 4 times and I decided to continue again. And now I decided to learn Spanish together with Italian because I started learning Italian as of this year. So that's why my aim is to do advanced level tests next year on both languages. So it's going very interesting, very challenging, yet I love challenges. So that's why my books are behind. Anyway, this was a little detour, but coming back to the question of self-care. So first, allow me to ask you a few questions for you to reflect on your own as to what do you think is really getting in the way of doing a self-care or taking care of yourself in the way that you want in your current situation, be it you are in an operation that already is very well established, has been working for a long time, has already systems in place, or in an operation that's experiencing a new emergency, has never had emergency before, so everyone might be a bit shocked and running around and no really time for self-care. So in all of these situations, what do you think is really getting in the way of you taking care of yourself the way that you want to? Now, this also, of course, assumes that maybe we're not really able to take care of ourselves in the way that we want to. And for those of us who are so good at doing it and have been able to take care of yourself, amazing, I salute you. For those of you, you can share your advice and your wisdom of how you've been able to do that. But this is for those of you, those of us who have struggled so much, including myself, who have struggled so much to take care of and at least not able to have been able to take care of themselves on a regular manner in the way that they really desire. So when you answer that question of what's getting in the way, probably like if your brain is like my brain, will come up with answers like it's because I don't have time, it's because I have too much to do, it's because my boss is demanding, it's because my colleagues want this and that on the last minute, whatever those reasons might be why you might be saying that you cannot really take time for all the things that you really want to do, right? So and then once your brain answers that question with those answers, the possible answers, then challenge yourself to ask, what if what if it's not true? What? I'm assuming if I was there with you, you would be willing to kill me. And I can understand, so don't worry. I'm doing it on purpose, and I'm also challenging my own brain on purpose to say, what if all of those reasons that my brain just gave me, reasons why I can't really take care of myself, what if those reasons are not really true? Then what? In no way I want to diminish or discredit your complaints or your concerns about lack of institutional response or lack of support from the institutions or organizations that you work for. In no way I'm saying that that's not true, or I'm discrediting your concerns about that. But I just, at this point, let's just take a moment and challenge our own brains or minds about what if all of the reasons that we said are why we can't take care of ourselves? What if that's not true? Just for the sake of exercise, let's challenge it. And what can we do then? So what is true about self-care, and what can we do if all of those reasons are not really reasons why we can't take care of ourselves? Anyway, the reason why I'm giving you these questions for you to challenge your own mind is simply to look at things from a different perspective than we are always used to looking at, and see what's out there. Because oftentimes, like my brain also does, is that I get very focused on thinking this is the reason why, or this is the explanation why, and I can't really seem to get out of that realm of discussion, and therefore I don't allow myself even to look for other possibilities. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I just wanted us to challenge our brains and minds, just for the sake of exercise, if not anything else. I should excuse myself in case you hear some background noise. Is because my partner is also working, so we're both trying to work and speak. So even though we're in different rooms, I think you may be able to hear a little bit, so apologies for that. So now, coming back to the self-care topic, is what's getting in the way. So when I think of my days when I was working in emergency, and that was a new emergency. And, a lot of us were new. I was new as well at the time with my organization. I didn't know half the time what's happening. I didn't know many things that were in place as well. So definitely there was a lack of knowledge of how to take care of myself. But also I didn't really I think that taking care of myself was important enough in view of other things that I was doing, because I wanted to just do whatever possible for other people, not really thinking about myself. The usual scenario for me would be that I would be so tired from work. I would finish around 10, 11 every day, p.m. And then I come home barely dragging my feet, right? So, I mean, we don't even talk about eating food in a healthy way. I would just grab whatever was available. And also because during emergency, so many things don't work, obviously. So that's why I would just eat whatever I could and then go to bed as soon as I could, because I would be waking up the next morning at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever, so that I could go back to work as soon as possible and do more work as possible. So this routine would continue. And then on weekends, if I didn't have a work, then, or if I could allow myself to sleep, I would sleep until noon or even until 2 p.m. the next day, and then, dead tired, and then wake up and barely eat something and then continue doing something else in terms of work, right? So this was the type of routine that I had. And this continued probably for 3.5 years. And this was the duration of that intensive period of emergency, post-emergency. And it got me to a point of a burnout and many life-challenging complications, hospitalized and everything else that I've talked about in other episodes as well. And with all of this, what I want to demonstrate here is not that poor me, I had to go through it, but rather what I did not know, but also what I could have now, what I know now, what I could have done now. So from all of that, I understood that obviously there was no lack of knowledge of what help was available for me, but also lack of awareness of what I really needed for myself. And also, if I really wanted to take time to do something else, I could do that as well. But I think I would be feeling guilty of taking care of myself in emergency. And that's why I didn't really want to take time off or prioritize myself, because I thought that prioritizing myself would mean that I'm not doing other things, and therefore I should feel shame or guilt, and this is not right in some ways. This is how I thought at the time. But interestingly, I also had all the time that I wanted to spend on other things like socializing with other people and attending certain parties, so I could do that as well. So you can see that I wasn't really able to prioritize things in the regular manner, in manners that were supportive to me, but rather I was just doing and reacting to things all of the time, because the environment was also in the way that it was very reactive, right? So, and all of my reasoning why I thought that I couldn't take care of myself, like lack of time and lack of clarity or lack of energy, all of this were there. But if I now dig deep into those reasoning behind why I'm not really taking care of myself, I have found that at least this applies to me, and see if this applies to you as well, that what was getting in the way of my self-care was me and myself. And not even me, but my thoughts about self-care, my beliefs about self-care. So I had the following beliefs about self-care, because of which I couldn't really take care of myself in the way that I wanted. So one, obviously, is that I don't have time. I can't take care of myself and prioritize my self-care because of my boss. I cannot do that because I'm in an unpredictable situation, and I can't prioritize myself over others, like I was saying. I'm not supported by my organization. This was something that I started thinking later, after maybe 3 years of working in that intensive environment. I started thinking that organization is not really supporting, because I had an experience of a psychologist coming over to our operation and had 5 minutes time with everyone. And when I saw the 5 minutes, I was like, no, you're kidding me. You came all the way from headquarters to help us with our mental health, but all you're spending is 5 minutes per person. That just doesn't make sense, right? And even now, I would not even take that seriously. But I think that just gave me even more fuel to be furious about why organization is not supporting me. And I want to speak to this actually a bit more, because a lot of times I think we humanitarians have this, have observed how or what are the possibilities in terms of psychological help or mental health assistance available on the ground. And we see that there might be many times non-available or not even possible. And many of us are not even considering doing it online with other therapists maybe, and therefore we are very angry, and rightly so, about the unavailability of those options for us. However, in this context, what I want to encourage all of us to think about is that once we know that those possibilities don't exist, once we know that what we're expecting were not there, then what are we going to do about it? So what are we going to do in terms of our self-care, knowing that those assistance is not available? Now, obviously, we should all go for making our institution accountable for giving us what they promised that they would give. I'm absolutely for it. But in the meantime of all of that happening, what are we going to do to take care of ourselves? Because I think oftentimes we get stuck in this idea that if there is no support from my organization, if there is no support from my institution, then I'm stuck. I have no way of taking care of myself effectively, and therefore I'm doomed, or I keep being frustrated with my organization and not really taking care of ourselves. Or at least this was my experience. I don't want to generalize, but at least this was my experience that I have thought, where I stopped doing anything about my own self-care because I was just expecting my organization to do something about it. Now, whenever we do that, we are creating more frustrations of why things don't work and things don't work the way we want to and all of this, right? So this is creating additional suffering, additional things to take care of. But B, we are transferring responsibility to an institution and saying that since you said you would take care of me and you're not taking care of myself, so you are now responsible and me, I'm not. And that, I think, also brings a lot of feeling of powerlessness, which again don't really serve us as well. And three, even if we wanted to get the institution accountable, we really need those resources and energy that we have in order to get the institution accountable. So therefore, we really need to be strategic about it instead of just having this feeling of giving up or feeling stuck or demotivated to do anything and not do anything about it. Right? So that's why I'm advocating in this episode to pass by that hurdle by not only just saying that, okay, this institution is not the way I expected, or the things are not there as I expected. So now what I'm going to do? What am I going to do regularly, knowing all my circumstances, and how am I going to take care of myself in the effective and in the sustainable way so that I can fight for my rights, or I can get the institution accountable. And the most important part, I can help the people I want to help in the most effective way. Right? So that's why this was, and the other belief I had was that it's normal that I won't be able to take care of during emergency. This was also something that was preventing me from taking care of myself, because I was just normalizing not taking care of myself being the normal in that circumstance. And the problem with that type of belief is that as soon as I believe that that's the case, I'm not even going to try to do something on a regular basis to change that, right? Because remember, whatever we believe, whatever we think is the case, we are going to prove it to be true. So therefore, whatever we believe to be true in terms of this being normal, that I can't take care of myself, then there is no way that I'm actually going to do something about it, because then I will just use my belief as an excuse why I can't take care of myself, why I can't do this, I can't do that. Therefore, coming back to my own thoughts and beliefs of what was standing in the way of me getting taking care of myself, or these beliefs, which once removed and once I took care of them and I dismantled, or I discredited, or I challenged all of them, then I realized, excuse me, then I realized that I can actually take care of myself with all the resources that I have within me already, without relying on the external systems in place. Of course, the external systems could probably help me achieve better results. I'm not denying it, but in the absence of them, instead of sitting and thinking that they're not there, I decided, how can I take care of myself using what I have and using all my abilities that I have now? So therefore, I highly encourage you, whatever the circumstance you are in, consider what thoughts and beliefs you have might be getting in the way of you taking care of yourself effectively. And also remember that many of the things that we can do in self-care, we often think of them in terms of doing yoga or meditation or physical exercises or certain activities, right? But that's only or part of the taking care of yourself. The other part of taking care of yourself is for your mental health, for your mental well-being. And those things can be addressed with many other solutions. So let's talk about solutions of how we could address our self-care. So a while back, I wrote about amazing skills for anyone who wants to thrive in life. This is a blog post that I wrote. Let me see, when was that? I think it was this year, definitely. Anyway, I will put the link in the show notes and you can have a look. And there I was talking about self-care ideally could start with mastering a few skills. The origin of why we need to take care of ourselves intensively come from several skills that we could master. One is detaching self-worth from activities that we do or from other people's actions. And what I mean by it is that as soon as we get criticized, or as soon as we criticize ourselves, in the end, we come down to I'm not worthy narrative. And instead of believing that narrative, what if we create a new narrative, which is I'm worthy all of the time, no matter what I do, no matter anyone does. And that could reduce extensively, exponentially reasons why we make our self-care a lot easier. Another one is trusting ourselves. No matter what the circumstances, we could trust ourselves and we could trust our abilities of doing all the things that we want, including self-care. Another skill is relying on our inner wisdom of what we have and not always thinking that having someone else or another external information there, which would help us in our self-care. Because oftentimes I also hear colleagues talk about lack of information. And I'm not really sure if that's the case. I think we believe that that's the case, but what if it's not true? Because, I mean, let's face it, any information that we want is available online somewhere. So I don't think it's the lack of information the problem. It's our belief that it's a lack of information, because we might be even using lack of information as an excuse not to take care of ourselves. So therefore, what if we relied on what we have within us and then use that to take care of ourselves? And another skill is self-love, and how we can generate so much compassion, how we can take care of ourselves effectively, starting from the point of loving ourselves no matter what we do or don't do. So remember at least 4 of these skills that you could always rely on, and you have them, you can develop them, and then you can use them in your self-care arsenal. Now, in terms of the actual structure around self-care, and if we want to look at it more holistically, so that we're not only working on taking care of some parts of it, but taking care of ourselves in the holistic manner, I always check 3 things, and I wanted to just share what I have. And of course, you are welcome to use your wisdom to find out what works best for you. So I always look at 1, the overall picture of whether I am being the person I am and living the life I want to. That's like the crucial umbrella overall picture, which helps me know how to take care of myself, but also helps me so much in taking care of myself effectively, because if I'm not living my life according to what I imagined I would live, then no matter what I do in life, taking care of myself becomes impossible, because my nagging thoughts will keep coming and coming and telling myself that I'm not really living my life the way I want to, right? So therefore, that first piece of overall picture is the most important. And then second is my mental health, and what am I doing on regular basis for my mental health. And here I was talking in the other videos about how I do dumping of all my thoughts and feelings out onto a paper and look at them, and that I do every day, and then decide what to do with them. And the other big piece is, of course, processing emotions, meaning that instead of telling myself, why am I feeling this, or why am I not feeling well, I just experience feeling it. That's for my mental health. And the third piece that I always check is, of course, the physical health, starting from eating healthy whenever I can, to sleeping well, and doing exercises. Swimming and massages, in my case, are very important parts that I want to do whenever I can as well. So whenever I look at these 3 components, then I know that if I'm doing all of them well, then I know that I'm taking care of myself effectively the way that I want to. So that's why it might be important for you also to think for yourself, what is the holistic way of looking at your own self-care? What are the skills that you might need for that, or you already have? And whether your self-care is the way that you want to, or something is getting in the way. And whenever you're looking at that something getting in the way, check with yourself first if it's only your thoughts or beliefs about things rather than the actual circumstance. Okay, my dears, this is what I have for you today in terms of self-care. I hope that you will be masters of taking care of yourself, and and keep restoring and revigorating yourself so that you can actually design the life you want. Happy Friday and happy weekend.